The NFL's worst nightmare appears to be playing out there in Cleveland. And the Browns picking up Shedeur Sanders when they did, it's throwing a lot of fuel on the fire. I'll explain why, because Shedeur is doing something that could probably send a little bit of fear throughout the league, mainly the league offices and in the Cleveland Browns locker room, because his influence is starting to grow a lot faster than they anticipated. Let's talk about that here on the Prime Time for College Football. First and foremost, Shedeur Sanders being drafted to the Browns. We talked about this in a few videos back, that it felt like, to me, the Browns had to go the cheap route because of that massive contract that Sean Watson has today. So their whole point and purpose was to get, some quarterbacks for cheap and try to figure that situation out, because he's got 4 years left on his deal. Well, I just saw online that NFL exec has said, I think it was from ESPN Cleveland, that they consider Shedeur Sanders the best quarterback in that Cleveland room already. I know. Ain't thrown a pass yet in the NFL. Totally agree with you. Not even jumping to that. But what Shedeur starting to do now? Notes have been taken. People are starting to get a little nervous. And that first thing is Darren Rovell, who's the resident bean counter out there on social media and worked for ESPN, worked for Action Network, a few other places. And he pointed out that from Fanatics, they have given him the information that Shedeur Sanders is the top selling jersey among this year's draft class. He has surpassed everybody. He is number one on the list. That's terrifying for the NFL. Because to be honest, the NFL is about that dollar. And because they're about that dollar, Cleveland will have to find a way to keep Shedeur around. It's a lot of money to be made. And they always find that. Now, do I think Shedeur is good enough to play in the NFL? I do. I think he's an NFL-capable quarterback. I think it's going to take him to doing a lot of work to excel up anything higher than being a really good NFL quarterback or just an NFL quarterback in general. I personally have tiers. I have your elites, starting quarterbacks, NFL quarterbacks, backup quarterbacks, and dudes that don't belong in the league. I think he's just an NFL quarterback. He can teeter between starter. He can teeter between backup today. But he's even said himself, he's got things he's got to work on, and he'll work on that. But as far as his popularity goes, it's already through the roof. Leading his class in draft picks, in jersey sales. All the draft picks in the 2025 draft class, he leads them in jersey sales already. His own collection of gear, too legendary. On his site, you can see, sold out. Didn't take long. Pops it up, boom, that stuff sold out. As soon as he puts the next drop out, I promise you, it's going to be sold out. Now, this is where things get even more uncomfortable. Let's say, maybe not scared, but uncomfortable. It appears that some of the players there in Cleveland have already selected who their QB1 is. First off, you got Dez Ward here, who posted this. Time to be legendary. Let's do it. Why do I point that out? You didn't see nothing about Dylan Gabriel, in that stuff. Same things with David Njoku. Let them all hate, fam. You know what you got in you. Players outspoken and speaking out in support of Shedeur, the Browns. There's a couple of them. Supposedly some others have said some stuff, maybe not on record, but players are starting to pick their side. Now, Shedeur is already starting to work. He done did a visit at the local high school. Was it John Marshall there in Cleveland? Telling the kids he wants to bring them a Super Bowl. He's there to, just work hard, encouraging them. He wants to be a part of the community. And that's the one thing we know the Sanders will do. They're going to ingrain themselves in their community. Look at Boulder. Dudes everywhere. They're always doing stuff around the community. And he's going to be doing the exact same thing there in Cleveland. That's where that fear comes in, because he's about to ingrain himself in this to where it's going to be really hard to find an excuse to get rid of him. They're going to have to go off play. And if they have to go off play, they're going to run into a problem, because I think he's going to play well enough to stick around. So the Browns got themselves a little conundrum going on here with Shedeur and everything going on. Tell me what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Am I crazy? I have a problem with y'all telling me I'm crazy, but I want to hear from y'all. We talked about it in another video on how NFL legend, I consider him a legend, Boomer Esiason, because I remember playing him on the video game, and he was very well known, especially because his name, Boomer Esiason. All right. I was talking about on WFan that NFL teams said to take Shedeur off of their draft boards because of whoever he is. And then you had Cam Newton that decided to pop up and be a hater. Did y'all see that? He doesn't like how Shedeur looks, thinks he's snobby and cocky. I don't understand it. But I think it's because Cam is still mad that Shedeur caught him out in his face. Caught him out straight to his face. Said, you be on that weird That's why. Now, Cam feels like he's cocky and feels like he's whatever. But that's the thing. Shedeur called him out to his face. No fear. No noise talk. Now Cam wants to come out and say that Shedeur acts too loud and acting like a DB. But others have said that Shedeur doesn't act that way. Others have said Shedeur is quiet. He's the complete opposite of his dad's personality. That's what's infamous. Is that he's known for not being anywhere like his dad. So now Cam Newton's a little upset because, Shedeur's getting his attention, and he decided that he wants to get a little bit too. I like Cam Newton. I've always been a fan of his. I've enjoyed his content too. He be off the rails sometimes, but that's the game nowadays. Got to do that. Only way you're going to get attention. I mean, heck, I got to put some good stuff up on my title and thumbnail to get y'all to come tune in. Some of y'all know I ain't going to lie to you though either. It's clown behavior. I don't even know why you got to do that. No reason to. But now, as we talk about the circus around Shedeur, the only circus is what people are creating in their minds. And it's mainly because Shedeur is on camera all the time. That is what Deion Sanders Jr. and the Sanders family do. They are all about content creation. They're in that world. And they have no problem with being a part of it. See what they mean? Then I go out there and work. I mean, Shedeur is working right now. He's training and he's getting his stuff together. So I totally understand and get the hate to an extent, but at the same time, come on, guys, let's be real. Do y'all really think that Shedeur is that bad? You think he's that cocky? You think that he's going to be that much of a distraction anywhere? I don't think so. I think he's going to show up and work. One of the videos on the channel is blowing up right now is the story that Chris Carter had talking to his driver. Stuff that you don't typically see. Stuff that you don't hear about. And how organized and meticulous and thoughtful Shedeur is. Not loud, not boastful, any of that. He doesn't talk crazy to his driver. He, yes sir, all of that stuff. But you're going to have people like Cam Newton want to tear him down because, it's a good opportunity to get some clicks while at the same time, Cam came at him initially. So, everybody got something to say. I do too. Let me know what y'all think on that. We'll talk about the recruits that come through Colorado this weekend because, there's reason to. Plus, had a commenter ask about buffs in the NFL and what that means for Prime. We'll talk about that. So make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, bell notification so you don't miss any of the videos. You can check out the last video as well right underneath that. And we'll chop it up soon.